Welcome to History Stories Dose, one story 10 parts, subscribe now.
You are about to watch the true story of Napoleon Bonaparte, one of history's most influential military leaders. It is October 1795. 6 years have passed since the French Revolution violently dismantled the monarchy, yet the nation remains trapped in a state of rolling chaos. The national economy is rapidly collapsing under hyperinflation. At the center of it all, a deeply divided and paralyzingly weak government struggles to maintain even the illusion of order. Looking at this map of Paris, the immediate threat becomes clear. The central government zone is effectively encircled as 25,000 armed royalist rebels mobilize and march toward the capital with a single objective: restore the king. If those marching columns manage to capture the city center, the entire French Revolution will be erased from history in a single afternoon. Panic sets in. The embattled politicians realize that holding the city requires a commander completely unbothered by the sheer brutality required to put down the mob. They turn to an obscure 26-year-old artillery officer, Napoleon Bonaparte. The establishment largely views him with heavy skepticism. He is young, unproven in major command, and seems entirely ill-equipped to repel a massive rebel army. Here is his tactical layout. Napoleon abandons the traditional practice of organizing standard infantry lines. Instead, he positions artillery cannons at highly specific, narrow street intersections leading directly to the government headquarters. The flaw in this design is its extreme fragility. If even one of these choke points falls to the charging rebels, the cannons will be overrun, resulting in the instant collapse of the city's defense. Napoleon understands that in this layout, there is no margin for error. He's placing the entire weight of the revolution, and his own head, on the outcome of a single morning. On the morning of October 5th, the attack begins. Thousands of armed rebels flood the streets, accelerating their charge directly toward the defensive positions. Napoleon waits until the densely packed columns are right in front of the guns. He gives a single order: fire. The cannons are loaded with grapeshot. Instead of a single heavy iron ball, each cannon blasts out dozens of smaller metal spheres at high velocity, effectively acting as a massive shotgun, perfectly designed to decimate confined urban spaces. The incoming lines are instantly shredded. The concussive force of shrapnel breaks the rebel advance, throwing the surviving mob in total confusion. Within hours, the uprising collapses entirely. The French Revolution is secured by raw, devastating firepower. In one bloody afternoon, an outsider manufactures undeniable political legitimacy through the calculated application of extreme violence. The victory instantly elevates Napoleon from a doubted youth to a celebrated national hero. This reputation provides him immediate entry into the salons of the Parisian elite, a world of wealth and political influence previously closed to a low-ranking officer. In these circles, he meets Josephine de Beauharnais. She is older, possessing deep elegance and entrenched connections directly into the political establishment. They quickly form an intense romantic attachment, leading directly to their marriage in early 1796. Yet the domestic quiet is brief. Exactly 2 days after their wedding ceremony, Napoleon leaves his new bride behind to accept a major military deployment. He uses his sudden elite status merely as a stepping stone, maneuvering politically to secure the exact command necessary to truly test his capacity for war. He arrives at his new post as the supreme commander of the army of Italy. The men waiting for him are in a pathetic physical state. They are starving, exhausted, heavily unpaid, and desperately under-equipped for a serious campaign. This graphic illustrates exactly what they are up against. Look at the stark numerical and supply deficit of the French forces on the left, compared to the massive, highly experienced Austrian military machine waiting on the right. The internal friction is obvious. The veteran generals assigned under his command openly mock his age and lack of experience, fully expecting the campaign to disintegrate. The political establishment handed him what amounts to a suicide mission, primarily to keep an ambitious upstart far away from the halls of power in Paris. Instead, they unknowingly set the stage for the greatest military upset in European history. Napoleon steps directly in front of his broken, nearly-unanimous troops. He does not offer empty reassurances. He actively validates their misery, acknowledging that they are poorly fed and entirely stripped of proper clothing. Then he makes a clear promise. Staggering wealth, victory, and glory are waiting for them just on the other side of the mountains. The psychological shift is immediate. The men lock into his vision, assemble their ranks, and begin their impossible march. What follows is a rapid cascade of victories. A starving, under-equipped force systematically dismantles Europe's most formidable fighting units, battle after battle. Across Europe, monarchs and generals begin to realize that the chaos in France has produced a commander who wins where every conventional rule of war says he should lose. The cannons fired at the heart of Paris secured the government's survival. Now, that same momentum carries Napoleon across the border to challenge the power of every throne in Europe. To be continued in Part 4. Next part, the Italian Campaign, how Napoleon defeated Europe's greatest armies and became the hero of France. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to History Stories Dose so you never miss the next chapter of history.